I'm just kidding, y'all. The cash money was honestly the last thing on my mind. If you know me, you know I love a passion project. And if you don't know me, hi, I'm Leann. I'm a fashion student doing fashion student things. This is the beginning of my Fashion Scholarship Fund competition film. So the FSF is a national nonprofit association dedicated to supporting, nurturing, and honoring the future of fashion. They do this by hosting a case study competition that challenges students to create solutions for current fashion industry issues every year. By entering in the design category as opposed to the business sides of the whole thing, I was signing up to research, sketch, and birth an innovative clothing collection that could change lives. Well, my life, at least. Any good collection starts with a mood board, and any good mood board from me has to include light references to critically acclaimed K-pop girl group LOONA. I assembled my silly little JPEGs from all over the internet and spent hours moving them around by a pixel or two until I was about to pull my hair out. But hey, this mood board absolutely eats. Actually, now is a great time to explain my concept. Instead of butchering a summary of my concept with colloquial slang, I will recite to you now the official synopsis of the Friend Fits collection that I designed, which is actually eloquently written, unlike these voiceovers, which I pound out at ungodly hours upon my keyboard. Throw on your rose-colored glasses because Friend Fits is making the future playful, one patchwork piece at a time. This collection, a collaboration between sustainable apparel brands Baggu and Big Bud Press, utilizes a circular fashion framework that renews year after year. These one-of-a-kind clothes transform from unsold products and dead stock into fun and functional new apparel designs. People, Planet, Profit is the core of the collaboration, catering to all consumers, speaking to their hearts, their ideals, and their wallets. Friend Fits will be the first of many limited edition apparel drops. Each piece is created to stand alone or coordinate with a companion piece, a best friend set. The convenience of technology has led to an increasingly disconnected yet overly connected world, which is why Friend Fits encapsulates the since-lost feeling of home, laughing until your sides hurt, and a sunny everyday with blue skies forever. Enjoy! So you're sitting here like, hey, that's cool, but when do we actually get to see the designing? To that I say, I spent about as much time drawing as I did doing research, like a true academic. But lucky for you, I cut out all the footage of me staring at a computer. I had already completed the sketches prior. Can we get some image inserts of those? Okay, here they are. I'm going to be inserting the slides of my presentation because on top of being required to do the dang thing, we were also required to make a slideshow of aforementioned dang thing. Okay, to put it very, very simply, the concept here is to create accessible clothing out of dead stock materials, which is not the most ingenious idea ever, considering we are trying to design for the 2025 season. But what's unique about this project is the appeal to the people, aka our consumer. We long for human connection, communal living, everything, but we are so disconnected. We hold so many values in our hearts, but we have a hard time putting them into practice. So, what does our consumer actually want? Frankly, consumers are yearning for comfort in an increasingly unpredictable social climate fraught with challenges since the start of the COVID-19 crisis. These hard hits of reality can be softened by a nostalgic return to the wonder and color of childhood. Customers feel pained that they are seemingly unable to rekindle the specialness in everyday and long for an authentic connection with their past selves, home, and comfort by any means possible. The aesthetic aspect of this collection helps consumers bathe in the idealized feeling of better days and create an identity through apparel. Some businesses think their customers want an endless supply of product options when it really depends on the product purpose. As a collection at the intersection of form, fit, and function, we offer customers a suitable serving of prints and colors, while sizing and accessibility are all inclusive. Individualized and unique clothing is a must, but preferences are more alike than you think, because in the customer's heart of hearts, they simply want to belong. Conscious consumption is key. Consumers are investing in high-quality pieces that will last, partly due to a mass shift away from fast fashion. Re-commerce and eco-friendly business models are on the rise, especially with people's growing awareness of the ramifications due to textile waste. Clothing consumers are willing to pay the price that accounts for ethical/sustainable production, fair wages, creative value, and functionality. This video really just is a recap show for my project at this point. But while we're on the topic of ethical production, let me also explain the reasoning behind the brands I chose. For this project, you are essentially supposed to immerse yourself into the role of a creative director and choose a brand to create for hypothetically. I chose 2 brands and molded a collaboration for them, since my project at its core is all about the inherent connection between humans, which fits very well with the idea of a collaboration. It took a while to sort through brands that met the criteria for the now hyper-aware consumer, but I settled on 2 small brands. Baggu is an online retailer most well known for its bags, which range from purses to reusable grocery bags and totes. They also carry small accessories and other lifestyle items. Big Bud Press, my second brand, is an LA-based clothing label specializing in unisex, everyday goods. They design classic pieces like trousers, button-downs, tote bags, and overalls. Both brands carry staple pieces with a colorful flair, a wide range of unique prints to suit individual tastes, focus on functional design that is meant to last, and are set at a middle market price point. On top of all that, they adhere to sustainable and transparent production practices like fair labor and recycled or organic materials. Before I began sketching, I had to compile a ton of pictures and samples from their websites and really delve into both brand identities to work out how they would come together. Here are the pages I compiled. There's a clip in my intro segment where I found someone's note in one of our library books about how clothes are a most personal possession, and they not only represent but constitute who we are. That really kickstarted my brain like a kombucha starter. The idea of identity, fashion, inclusivity, and community kept growing and intertwined with the business concept I was learning about in my capstone class about the triple bottom line, aka people, planet, and profit. And that produced the following idea. Fashion is a tool to communicate the ongoing creation of the self. Friend Fits builds on the idea that nobody is an island. We develop who we are by interacting with others. Our companion outfits are simply a visual way to depict this concept. The design caters to all individuals regardless of ability. Nobody should feel like they do not have a place in fashion, and accessible apparel is a key feature in the collection. We were inspired to create a clothing connection concept equivalent to matching friend necklaces. Friendships and clothes should both last as long as possible, so our clothes are built to last, meant to be paired with the staple pieces already in your closet, and as a bonus, have lots of pockets. Let's reduce, reuse, and recycle. Utilizing existing dead stock and past products in our collection saves resources that are quickly dwindling with each passing year. Each piece is an amalgamation of these twice-loved textiles, and these textiles link each design together, so you are never truly separated from those you care about, including the planet. We are aiming to create a transparent supply chain and an eco-conscious product lifestyle in which we provide an authentic experience for customers. Baggu and Big Bud Press are committed to responsible textile creation, workers' rights, and value creation through unique, usable designs. This collaboration emphasizes both brands' dedication to continual innovation and showcasing standout pieces that are meant to make every day a little more special. So I pretty much just did a whole lot of research to come to these conclusions. For my trend analysis, I looked at about 5 different areas that would contribute to the collection, including current trends and other business practicalities. Basically, a steady increase in do-it-yourself has risen in niche fashion subcultures. Only small creators are doing this right now because brands have yet to pick up on the collage-esque pieced-together clothing that many young consumers are clamoring for but don't really have the means to do themselves. This collection is accessible as a default to appeal to a wider demographic. In 2025, functional clothing should be readily available for any person who wants it. Our designs look toward the future of fashion, in which clothes should be made to fit the wearer, not the other way around. Some sectors of the clothing industry, especially smaller brands, are shifting away from seasonal collections and creating collections that are seasonless to increase the lifespan of clothing and discourage a wear and toss mindset. Sales campaigns are honing in on customers' pains and unearthing what they truly need to have instead of selling customers something they could want. Customers are growing more aware and resistant to marketing tactics, so it is a brand's onus to create authentic products that speak for themselves. Okay, so I just finished the line art of my first illustration and I am so happy with how it's going. I was trying to figure out mainly how to stylize a person in a wheelchair and mostly the wheelchair because I didn't want to show all the details of it because I didn't want to detract from the clothing, but I'm you kind of still have to know that it's a person in a wheelchair. So I think I did a pretty good job on that. Yeah, I was so nervous going into the line art, but I feel like I'm glad I went with this style instead of the style that I sketched out because that was kind of just to get the shapes in place. I'm going back to my fashion illustration style, and that's more realistic in the sense that you can see more of the details and they're not all simplified out. So very, very pleased with that. I have to do 6 other assignments that I have due today, including my first case study for my business capstone. That aside, I don't think I'll be able to color these today, and I think I do want to plan out the colors a little bit more so the whole collection is cohesive, and finalize my print designs as well. I have to design fabric textile designs, so I will hold off on coloring, but yeah, I will be sure to keep you guys updated. Yeah, woo! I wanted to talk about the materials next. As we know, all the materials in this hypothetical collection would be sourced directly through unsold product or overstock/leftover materials from Baggu and Big Bud Press. Here are some technical details regarding fabrication. Also, wanted to touch on the prints and patterns I designed, which was another requirement of the competition. They are meant to be printed directly onto the fabric or screen printed in sections with non-toxic water-based inks to follow our value system. The first pattern is meant to be an homage to the people who actually create these clothes. So this pattern is based on industry standard pattern making paper representing the functional aspect of the collection. The second, called Face to Face, features a fresh twist on the classic smiley face while including the collaboration logo I designed here. Lastly, there is the starry sky pattern, which is just a classic cloudy night print with a graphic sparkle. Definitely meant to be reminiscent of stargazing with friends and just like the general vastness of space, but also being super fun as well. If you look closely at the final illustrations, you'll see I tried to incorporate these patterns and motifs into each outfit somehow. Okay, today is September 27th. I just finished line art on my second drawing, and unfortunately, I very much dislike it. And over the past few days after I finished my first drawing, I went back and looked at it, and now I'm very dissatisfied with that as well. It's just like not a good feeling because I look at it and it doesn't feel as loose and as natural as the art I have made in the past. For example, I was looking at my old sketchbooks yesterday, and I feel like when I draw small scale, it's more loose, and also in my sketchbook, it's like not as crucial to get it perfect, but then it ends up looking like really good. Unfortunately, I do not have time to redo these drawings, but I can like fix them in post. So like after I color them and I scan them, I can edit them like digitally for like proportions. Because this newest drawing, like the girl on the right, she has a little bit more like iffy proportions. Her legs aren't like big enough compared to the rest of her body. So I can do like technical stuff like that. I'm kind of bummed out that my style isn't, it's detailed, which I'm glad for. And I know I had to do it on a big paper to capture all that detail, but I feel like by transferring it to a big paper, I lose some of that flow or looseness that I really wanted to keep. But I guess that's just like the trade-off. The thing is, like, I sent it to my illustration professor and she was like, this is slay, but somehow I still don't like it. I don't know if it's I've like been looking at it for too long or I've been worrying about it too much. LOL. You know, it really be like that sometimes. Even though you guys are real tired of me talking straight through a half-hour video, I did want to touch on the accessibility portion of the collection because it is really important to me. So the first piece is called Joyous Jumpsuit. The accessible jumpsuit is comprised of two pieces, a top and a bottom. So the wrap top is actually created so the user can stick the outer waistband, like a faux waistband, together with Velcro, which makes for easy self-dressing. The bottom includes zippers on both sides for dual access and an elastic back waistband. And the top and bottom pieced together with Velcro once again, so the jumpsuit illusion is maintained. The second outfit set includes the picnic top, which is the same Velcro concept as the jumpsuit top with like a cap sleeve-esque look and a small sailor collar for a little bit of flair. The color block button up is, you know, just your classic button up, but with a color for every mood and a choice of snap closure or zipper closure for easy accessibility. Then we have the all smile skirt, which actually it's a skort. So there are shorts that sit underneath for comfort and ease of movement. And the two panel design allows shorts fabric underneath to be revealed when the wearer moves. The waistband is also Velcro secured. The third set includes the sunny sailor jacket, which is bringing back that sailor collar while also having a crop length to accommodate people in wheelchairs and those who like a high waist. Also, the reinforced center placket on the jacket, which is the part where it like holds the buttons, it has like hidden magnetic snaps for those with mobility / coordination trouble. And the last piece is the cloud pants slash cloud shorts, which is similar to the jumpsuit bottom with a different colorway, as well as a zipper slash elastic back. So I talked a lot about the little like trims, notions, and details like Velcro and elastic. So we chose Velcro because it's lightweight and easy to secure with one hand, or for those with like motor skill difficulties or coordination disabilities, it's definitely easier to work with Velcro versus like a button or a lace-up detail. Also, elastic waist backs on our bottoms are meant to give some wiggle room for the wearer's body, as we are continually changing human beings and our clothes should like breathe with us. Getting into the more technical side of things, there's something called a flat felt seam, which for those with sensory issues, regular press seams with like a little overlock stitch like on a t-shirt can be very uncomfortable. So we want to design our garments with the raw edges of the fabric to be like fully encased. Embroidery. Interface nylon and cotton patches can be seen scattered throughout the collection, so an embroidered edge gives like a nice line work finish to our logos and graphics, which makes it look just like the drawing. Keychains are super fun and also dual usage as like a large zipper pull for those with motor skill difficulties, and also just like a fun tchotchke for your collection, and it features motifs from our original prints. And the Friend Fit Facts patch details the work that went into each piece, including materials, colors, workers' names, and other details that show your outfit is like one of a kind. Also, this doubles as a hang tag for our garments. And our clothing tag, which can either be printed on a little fabric strip or it can be directly screen printed onto the garment. Okay, so today's update is, it's about 2 weeks before the deadline. It is October 4th. I need to get my stuff done a week before the deadline, so I can have people look over it and I can have a week to write up all the other like written materials that I need to do, like my cover letter, I think I need one, and tweak my resume and everything like that. So the illustrations are still giving me a hard time. I actually really liked the third composition that I came up with, and I finished lining that as well. Y'all know I love a good color story, and this was no exception. The color palette is absolutely huge in this collection, so we are very much towing the line between cohesive and chaotic. I chose these shades by color picking the existing brand identifying shades and mixing and matching to create the color palettes. So there are actually 3 like sub color palettes that are derived from the main motley, and each one corresponds to its own illustration. My descriptions for the palettes are very corny and I can't read them out loud, so you just need to read them for yourself later. Basically, I took a page from Color Theory 101 and utilized complementary colors, primary triads, soft pastels versus more saturated hues, as well as juxtaposing warm and cool shades to strike a balance between everything we have going on. Honestly, this was one of the hardest things to do, was decide what colors should go where in the illustration to maintain that balance. The first one, I kind of messed up. I had to paint over it with paint marker. I was feeling kind of hopeless. I was like, I don't really know what to do about that. So I sat on the ground for a few minutes and like reflected on how I messed it all up. This was after I also messed up the second illustration as well. The second piece is definitely a train wreck. It is super chaotic. So after that reflection, I've decided I'm going to redo it. Even though I am short on time, I think I'm gonna have to redo it. I think I should just redo it, and it will make me feel better if I redo it. I will just have to do all of my other homework really, really fast because I also have, it's like kind of midterms week. I have like a case study for my capstone course. Unfortunately, I have to study. I have like a ton of assignments suddenly. But honestly, my perseverance is coming from having reread Angelic Layer recently. So if you need a motivational boost in the face of hardship, I highly recommend it. Yeah, so I am struggling with this. It's very like first world problems to be struggling with creation and art. Obviously there are like a lot more important things going on in the world that I could be worrying about, but this is a really big opportunity for me, so I want to do a good job. The scholarships and other people's standards, but like my standards are way higher than people's standards, so I also want to do a good job for me as well. Anyway, I will see you in the next update. Hopefully I'll have made some more progress. Okay, disaster zone. Girl. Okay, before we end the video, I want to reflect a little bit. I struggled really hard with this project. I have a habit of taking things way too seriously and going to absolutely the maximum without caring if I burn out or not. It took me months to recover, and I'm actually not sure I'm fully recovered even now, which is like half a year later. It was definitely worth all my time and effort, of course, and I'm so proud of it, but I don't think I needed to like put all my hard work eggs, especially since it's like creativity, into this one basket. But by some miracle, I was also able to complete all my senior level coursework. Doing this video and looking back on all the stuff I like wrote and drew and designed myself is actually insane, and like compiling it together in a way that makes sense is even harder. Like I worked myself to the bone, and then I was salty at myself for not being able to do anything creative for a while afterward, and then I was salty that I like wasn't editing this video afterward either. But if you're taking on a project like this, just know that like nothing is worth sacrificing your mental and physical health for, though it feels so like expected of us as students and productive members of society. All in all, I think I made a kick-ass presentation. It's like a well thought out collection, but it took me so long to like finally sit and edit this recap video because it holds like so many mixed emotions for me now, and I was hesitant to revisit it. I don't know. Art is so crazy because it will take your mind and body and soul hostage, and then people spend all of 2 seconds looking at it, acknowledge it's like aesthetic and pretty, and then just move on. But if you made it this far, I want to thank you for listening. I'm not hating on y'all. I really just wanted more people to hear about my thought process and like the rationale behind the collection, which I feel like nobody actually really engages with, because in my presentation, it literally looks like big chunks of text on a page. And if I didn't write it, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not reading that. But thank you for listening again and constantly supporting me.
Mom, would you like to say something? Okay.
好漂亮哦，这个好清楚，红橙黄绿。
The illustrations are crucial to conveying the heart of the Friend Fits collection. Fashion illustration traditionally features nymph-like croquis. They convey more of an ideal than reality. While the focus is on fashion, customers should be able to see themselves in the clothes, hence the personification process of the croquis, aka the model. So our figures are drawn stylistically in ink to maintain the aesthetic of a fashion illustration, but incorporate personality elements to breathe life into them. Each pose is comprised of a pair of friends going about their everyday life. The first concept was called waiting for the bus. So incorporating ordinary tasks while imbuing them with a sense of specialness was the goal here. People in wheelchairs are not seen much in mass market fashion, and they're rarely depicted in fashion illustrations. We believe that should change. The second set is the most dynamic. We wanted to showcase movement and joy. A quasi-symmetrical composition draws similarities between the figures while accentuating their individuality. Here we incorporated traits like darker skin, vitiligo, glasses, and plus-size bodies. Lastly, we have our hand holders. Their story is different. One has headphones on and the other is turned away. Maybe one of them is moving, or maybe they're no longer friends. The model on the right is shown with a prosthetic leg. We want people, all people, to feel like they belong. So my illustrations show a sampling of friendships and depict the diversity of our world that should be seen in fashion. The end times were near. I was painstakingly creating my slideshow presentation, not on any normal software like PowerPoint, InDesign, or even Google Slides. I instead chose to brew everything from scratch on Procreate, aka the one app not designed to make presentations, where I was adjusting text down to the spacing between the letters, cutting graphics down to their last pixel, and really doing some like homegrown DIY stuff. So it will come as no surprise that I, as the kids say, got lost in the sauce. By the way, this isn't even the entire time lapse for the presentation. Each slide took like 5 to 6 hours, which is honestly some BS. And I just chose some of my favorites to showcase here. For some reason, during this process, I listened solely to This Love by Maroon 5 on repeat, which is like some insane behavior. haven't slept in 3 days. I look round. I better win this. If you don't let me win. We're done. We're done. You're done. Mom! We won! How do you feel? Did you help at all? Did you help? Okay, true.